In a distant galaxy, Carina faces a ticking clock. Conceive a child before her 30th birthday or risk losing everything. With help from Commander Jax and mercenary Reich, she ventures through danger and discovers unexpected bonds. As tensions rise, moral dilemmas threaten their mission. Can one act of love transform fate, or will it lead to unimaginable consequences? Don't forget to subscribe. 91% of viewers enjoy our content but forget to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our daily sci-fi stories and support a dedicated team of storytellers and content creators who rely on this as their livelihood. In the dim glow of her quarters aboard the Starship Vigilant Carina Noxon stood before her mirror, grappling with the reflection staring back at her, each flickering light sending shadows across her steadfast features. With almond-shaped hazel eyes that sparkled with unwavering determination, she looked like a warrior princess, trapped in a realm of sterile walls and harsh circuitry. Her dark braid fell over one shoulder, a stark contrast to the bright, metallic environment surrounding her. Carina was not just a Zethana officer. She was a beacon of hope in a galaxy teetering on the brink of chaos. Her heart raced with rising anxiety as frenetic thoughts twisted through her mind like a tempest. The clock was ticking toward her 30th birthday, a deadline imposed by the very essence of her being, as her kind believed that fertility waned after this fateful threshold. Today was pivotal. She must confront her fears and navigate the labyrinth of duty versus desire. The urgency burned within her, igniting a flame that could no longer be ignored. "I can't let this happen," she whispered hoarsely, clenching her fists as she turned away from the mirror's haunting gaze. The walls felt suffocating, the cold metal a stark reminder of her solitary life. Within the flickering fluorescent lights, Carina felt her longing for a family intensify, battling against her duty to the galactic patrol that had demanded so much of her life. The Vigilant floated amidst the stellar embrace of the galaxy, its hull battered yet resilient, a fitting reflection of her own struggle. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, Carina made a resolve. She would seek out Commander Jax Cerulean. He was a fair leader, and she hoped, that he would empathize with her plight. He had always been her mentor, a stark contrast to her fiery spirit. With purpose, Carina strode toward the command center, her boots echoing against the polished floor. Each step felt heavy, laden with the weight of her decision. As the doors slid open, revealing the hub of command, she felt the presence of her comrades, their faces a blend of focus and fatigue. Holographic screens lit the stark room with dynamic displays of star charts and tactical diagrams, yet Carina's attention was fixed solely on Jax. "Commander, I need to talk," she started, her voice firm yet tinged with a desperate undertone. The silver strands in Jax's hair glimmered under the artificial lights, and his penetrating blue gaze met hers, filled with concern. Today, Jax wore a well-tailored uniform that accentuated his commanding stature. He was in his 40s, with a worn dignity about him, an amalgamation of age and experience, his features framed by sharp angles that hinted at the battles he had fought not only against external foes but within himself. It's urgent," she continued, her heart pounding in tandem with the intensity swirling around them. Jax gestured for her to take a seat, his demeanor shifting to one of empathy. "Go on," he urged softly, his brow furrowing in thought. Carina's pulse quickened as she gathered her words, feeling them bubble forth like a force of nature. "I'm in a dire situation. If I don't conceive soon, I won't survive the year," she confessed, locking eyes with him. Seated across from Commander Jax Cerulean in the sleek, metallic confines of the Starship Vigilant Carina felt the weight of her vulnerability pressing down on her like the heavy atmosphere of a dying planet. The cold light of the command console flickered, casting long shadows across the room, mirroring the turmoil within her. "I'm in a dire situation, Jax," she began, the words tasting bitter as they left her lips. "If I don't have a child soon, I won't survive the year." The silence that ensued felt suffocating. Jax's expression hardened, the usual glint in his eyes dimmed by the gravity of her proclamation. "Are you suggesting we find you a partner for this?" he asked slowly, his voice low and measured, as if weighing each syllable for its importance. Carina swallowed hard, her heart racing in the quiet. "Yes, I need someone who can help me. I can't do this alone." Each word spilled from her lips with a desperation she could no longer contain, revealing layers of anxiety that had been hidden beneath her trained exterior as an officer of the Galactic Patrol. After a moment that felt like an eternity, Jax leaned back in his chair, and his brow furrowed at the thought. "There's a mercenary named Reich. He's unorthodox, but he has a good heart and is tough enough to handle what lies ahead." Jax's gaze bore into hers, an unspoken understanding passing between them. With a heavy sigh, Carina nodded, the weight of uncertainty still heavy upon her. "I'll meet him, but it won't be easy. This plan involves an assault on a Kex stronghold. Are you sure he's up for it?" Jax, with a glint of resolve in his eyes, replied, "He's your best shot. And if anyone can navigate the chaos, it's you." His encouragement seeped into Carina's bones, even as her heart still pounded with trepidation. The encounter with Reich. Later that day, Carina found herself in a dimly lit bar on Virdak-3, a planet known mostly for its underbelly of mercenaries and outlaws. The smoky air clung to her skin, each breath filling her with the scent of danger and desperation. She scanned the crowded room, her gaze landing on a figure sitting alone in a corner, a wiry man with a rugged demeanor and an untamed shock of dark hair that fell across his forehead. Reich looked up, a casual smile illuminating his otherwise steely face. "You must be the officer who decided to venture into the lion's den." "Quite a choice." His voice was smooth, laced with an irreverence that disarmed her. "Cut the pleasantries, Torin. I need your help," she said, her tone firm, though her insides fluttered with the anticipation of his response. He leaned back, eyes twinkling with mischief. "You know, I'm not in the business of charity. What's in it for me?" She planted her hands on the table, leaning closer. "This isn't a game, mercenary. We're going to invade a Kex stronghold. I need someone who can navigate their defenses and isn't afraid to get their hands dirty." Reich raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet nonchalant. "Kex? Aren't those the guys with the best weaponry in the sector? They'll take one look at us and..." "Let me worry about that," she snapped, her frustration bubbling to the surface. "Are you up for the challenge or not?" With a contemplative look, he rubbed his chin. "You've got guts, I'll give you that. I like that in a partner." The grin that spread across his face was genuine, a mixture of admiration and playful challenge. "All right, I'm in, but I won't just be your partner, this will be a co-op job. You follow my lead, Officer Zethana." A smirk tugged at the corners of Carina's lips as she shook her head, despite the tension lingering beneath. "Let's just get the job done." The plan takes shape. Back on board the Vigilant *, the atmosphere brimmed with excitement as the two set to work alongside Jax. Holographic projections of the Kex stronghold filled the command center, glowing blue maps plotted with topographical precision. "This is the layout," Carina began, her voice gaining strength as she directed the mission briefing. "We'll enter through the maintenance shafts on the east side, avoid the main guard posts, and head straight for the control room." Reich examined the hologram, his fingers tracing the lines as if he envisioned the battle unfolding before him. The maintenance shafts? You're thinking they won't be watched closely? He smirked. I like your style. Go for the unexpected. As their plans continued to evolve, so did their dynamic. Each contribution from Reich brought forth a fresh perspective, his quick wit mixing with Carina's sharp instincts. Yet beneath the layers of camaraderie, a tension flickered, unspoken and palpable. Each shared laughter amidst the seriousness of their mission kindled a spark of something deeper, an unexpected bond formed through shared adversities. And as the stars shone brightly outside the viewport, illuminating the path ahead, hope intertwined with uncertainty created an enchanting yet precarious tapestry. Chaos approaches. When the day of the assault arrived, Carina and Reich stood in the shadows of their ship, cloaked by the abyss of space. The vigilant asterisk hovered silently above the Keck's stronghold, a brutal fortress that seemed to tower defiantly against the star-speckled sky. Remember the plan, Carina reiterated nervously, though she could feel resolve hardening within her heart. The sense of danger buzzed around them like static in the air. Stick to the maintenance shafts and keep your comms open. Roger that, officer. I'm just the loyal mercenary following orders. Reich replied with a teasing wink, though his relaxed demeanor belied the tension winding through them both. As they descended toward the planet's surface in a cloaked shuttle, the stark contrast between the serene cosmos and the violent reality below offered sobering clarity. Landing undetected, they slipped into the shadows of the Keck's heavily fortified perimeter, silently breaching the entry they had sought. As they moved through the narrow, damp corridors of the stronghold, Carina's heart raced, pounding against her chest as both the gravity of their mission and the scent of danger surrounded them. Each sound became amplified in the silence, the distant hum of machinery, the faint shuffling of guards echoing like whispers of fate. Stay sharp, she ordered, her eyes darting around, alert to potential threats. The atmosphere aboard the vigilant asterisk was thick with intensity, the dimly lit command room pulsating with the weight of their gravity-laden mission. The walls vibrated with the hum of energy, echoing Carina's anxious heartbeat. Every flicker of the control panel seemed to synchronize with the countdown in her mind, a constant reminder of her looming deadline. Jax trusts you, Carina said, her gaze fixed on Reich, whose casual demeanor contrasted sharply with the urgency of their situation. But you should know the stakes are high. If we fail, my life hangs in the balance. Reich leaned back against a nearby console, a smirk playing on his lips. You don't get to be a mercenary if you don't enjoy a little risk, sweetheart. His dark hair fell over his forehead, lending him a rough charm that belied the depth of his character. His green eyes sparkled with both mischief and intensity, betraying a man well versed in danger yet yearning for purpose. Carina's frustration bubbled to the surface. This isn't a game, Torin. If we don't retrieve the data from the Keck's stronghold, I might lose more than just my career. I could lose my chance at living. All right, Miss No Nonsense, he conceded, straightening up. Let's formulate a plan. They spread the schematics of the Keck's stronghold across the table, a fortress notorious for its labyrinthine architecture and impenetrable defenses. We'll need to split up, Carina emphasized. I'll create a diversion at the east entrance, drawing the guards away. You slip in from the west and make your way to the control center. Reich scratched his chin, contemplating the course. And what if the Kecks aren't as easy to fool as we hope? Carina locked eyes with him, determination blazing in her voice. Then we adapt. We have no choice. As they worked together, Carina marveled at the unexpected harmony of their collaboration. Reich offered a wealth of unorthodox strategies, inventively exploiting weaknesses within the Keck's operations. His insight was often marked by a spontaneous humor that momentarily lifted the heavy shroud of anxiety enveloping them. After hours of strategizing, they stood face to face, no longer just a fearless officer and a reckless mercenary, but partners. Beneath the mirthful banter, Carina sensed a connection forming, one not born of necessity alone, but rooted in shared respect and burgeoning trust. "All right, let's get this show on the road," Reich said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder, sparking a flicker of warmth that ebbed the chill of their surroundings. As they prepared for the heist, they donned stealth suits provided by the Vigilant Asterisk, sleek garments that melded with the shadows of space. The technology behind their suits was cutting edge, equipped with cloaking abilities and adaptive camouflage, primed to blend seamlessly with the Kek's stronghold's dark environment. The air inside the Vigilant Asterisk was charged with anticipation as they approached the Kek's stronghold in a nimble shuttle. Through the viewport, the stark landscape of cracked earth and jagged rock formations unveiled the ominous fortress. Towers crowned with glaring spotlights sprawled before them, like the teeth of a cold, unyielding beast. Carina's heart raced as she recalled every piece of intelligence Jax had gathered on the Keks. Each detail sharpened the edge of her resolve. "We're not merely raiding a base," she reminded Reich, her voice a low murmur against the hum of the shuttle. "We're dismantling a web of oppression, saving the galaxy, one Keks at a time." He nodded, his grin wide, yet a flicker of intensity simmered in his demeanor. "Timing's crucial, and so is your signal." The shuttle's engines faded to silence as they hovered close to the rugged terrain obscuring the east entrance of the stronghold. Carina thumbed the activation on her wrist communicator, a device pulsating with the same certainty she felt within. "We're ready," she whispered. "Showtime," Reich replied, his voice laced with an eagerness that tempered the tension running rampant between them. Carina sprung into action, her agility a dance of speed and stealth, drawing the Kek's guards' attention. "Hey, over here," she shouted, her voice echoing against the cold stone. The guards turned, lured by the challenge, while she darted away, adrenaline fueling her every step. As the guards pursued her, Reich slid into the shadows at the west entrance. The dim light within the stronghold was a chaotic blend of red and blue, warning signals humbling the sharp shadows that lurked behind every corner. With deft movements, Reich navigated the winding hallways, applying everything he knew about infiltration. His heart raced, driven by the stakes at hand, the potential for life beyond this mission, perhaps even a life beside Carina. Meanwhile, Carina led the guards on a wild goose chase through the labyrinthine corridors. Every twist and turn introduced new obstacles. She ducked behind crates of Kek's weaponry, listening to the clamor of footsteps grow weaker as her plan worked. As she turned a corner, her breath hitched in her throat. Two guards were ahead, their backs turned as they perceived the commotion fading away. Summoning her courage, Carina repositioned herself, her Zethonate training igniting her instincts. She lunged forward, her blaster drawn, the weight of her duty fueled by desperation. "You're not going anywhere," she commanded, her voice calm but firm. Startled, the guards turned, their expressions morphing from confusion to aggression. In a heartbeat, she pulled the trigger, her hands steady even as the adrenaline surged through her veins. The blaster discharge echoed with finality, a stark reminder that the stakes could spiral at any moment. As Reich approached the control room, he too encountered resistance. The corridor split into two, and ahead, he could see the faint flickering lights of the control panels just beyond the large double doors. "The heart of the stronghold," he whispered to himself, steeling his nerves. With a tactical spark ignited within, he crafted a diversion of his own using a small EMP device slung at his hip. Flicking it on, he tossed it ahead. The device emitted a stunning burst of energy, plunging the hallway into darkness and shutting down the sentry alarms momentarily. He seized the moment to slip through the double doors. Inside the control room, the lights flickered back on, revealing a trio of Kex technicians hunched over consoles, unaware of their impending danger. Reich's presence emerged from the shadows, his blaster gripped tightly in both hands. "Get away from those panels." Now, a heavy fog enveloped the Kex stronghold, giving it an ethereal and menacing quality under the stark light of distant quasars. The architectural nightmares soared into the sky, forged from dark metals and jagged edges, each corner bristling with the remnants of battles long past. Carina and Reich stood at the threshold, every nerve in Carina's body thrumming with anticipation and anxiety. The atmosphere was thick with an almost palpable tension, as if the very walls were conspirators in a deadly game. "Stay sharp," Carina murmured, her voice barely piercing the hum of the stronghold's security system. She absently adjusted her tactical visor, enhancing her field of vision to cut through the pervasive gloom. Colors morphed, revealing the outlined silhouettes of Kex guards patrolling the perimeters. "We need to." Explosions of vibrant light erupted through the shadows, accompanied by the dreadful cacophony of alarms piercing the night. "Oh, great, we've been made," Reich exclaimed, his tone mixing dismay with adrenaline as he instinctively pulled out his blaster, its metal glinting under the weak blue lighting of the corridor. "Stick to the plan. We need to reach the control room to disable their defenses." Carina barked, her authoritative demeanor rising to the forefront as the haze of chaos enveloped them. The adrenaline sharp in her veins, she surged forward, driving the pair deeper into the heart of the Kex stronghold. As they dashed through the cramped quarters, the air thickened with the sense of raw energy and corrosive fuel. Unruly blasts of green plasma singed the walls near them, forcing them to duck and weave, the sharp reports of blasters ringing like thunder in the confined spaces. It was a maze filled with winding corridors and resistance, a testament to the Kex's relentless militarization. "We need to adjust our trajectory," Reich urged, glancing towards a panel flickering faintly at the end of the hall, revealing the map of the facility. "If we go through the eastern corridor, we might be able to avoid a larger troop presence." "No, we don't have time for that. We can't get cornered or second-guess ourselves," Carina countered, her tone resolute despite the ticking clock of chaos. She could feel her heart hammering in her chest, a sound as loud as the blaster fire erupting all around them. "Follow my lead." Without waiting for a response, she propelled herself into the fray, the two of them a force of nature against the Kex warriors closing in. Shots were fired, screams echoed, and in that tempest of sound and fury, the unspoken bond between her and Reich solidified into something more than mere survival. Carina spotted an opening. A lattice of vents overhead might provide a shortcut if they could reach it before the Kex forces converged on their position. "Up there," she pointed, determination blazing in her eyes. Reich grinned, a flicker of awe at her tenacity igniting his spirit. On it, he carefully boosted her upwards, his hands firm on her waist as she clambered into the vents, the cold metal biting her fingertips. As she hoisted herself through the narrow space, she felt an exhilarating sense of urgency, a thirst for victory over the palpable threat in the corridors below. Emerging from the other side, Carina's heart raced as she landed with a thud onto a metallic grate directly above the control room. She squinted through a translucent panel, observing how an army of Kex warriors hustled to secure their fortress. "We can't let them reach the mainframe," she hissed, assessing the tactical layout. Reich slipped in beside her, breathing heavily. "Looks like a full-fledged party down there." Despite the chaos, his grin was infectious. "How do you want to crash it?" Just as she formulated a plan, a resonating roar echoed through the stronghold. A Kex warlord emerging from the depths of shadows, tall and menacing, armored in shimmering scales that reflected shades of deep green and black. His eyes were like smoldering embers, exuding authority and malice. This was no ordinary soldier. This was the architect of their turmoil. "Stop right there," his voice boomed, sending a tremor of fear through the air, like the crack of thunder before a storm. Each syllable pressed against Carina's chest like an anchor, momentarily halting her thoughts. "Carina, we can handle this," Reich said, adrenaline and humor intertwined in his voice. "No way I'm letting this guy ruin our day." A frisson of doubt tinged Carina's bravery. "He must be the one leading them," she inferred quietly. "We need a diversion. A way to lure him away from the control room." Reich turned with a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Yeah? Suggestions? Make some noise," she mouthed, a wild idea igniting within her. "I'm going to cause a distraction and create an opportunity for us to breach their security terminal." Reich nodded, resolve set in his features. "Just be careful." With a swift nod, Carina activated a set of thermal grenades she had tucked away, tossing them into the fray below while signaling Reich to prepare for the impending chaos. A blinding explosion ripped through the layer of Kek's guards, scattering them as smoke and light enveloped the space. Shouted curses, Kek's curses, filled the air, underscored by the frantic sounds of their disarray. Taking advantage of the chaos, she charged toward the control room, feeling the wind of impending doom racing at her back. Together, she yelled, and they surged forward, fiercely pressing on despite the throng of soldiers swarming back to fight. The duo collided with the remaining guards, blasters blazing as they fought shoulder to shoulder. With every strike and blast, the fear that initially gripped Carina transformed into an unyielding force. The bond between them flourished as trust and synergy melded with their shared desperation. As the last guard fell, Carina arrived at the terminal, her fingers dancing over the console's holographic interface with practiced precision. "I can disable their defenses, but I need a minute," she called to Reich, who was held up by a few remaining stragglers. "I'll buy you that time," he shouted back defiantly, his posture exuding confidence as he faced down the approaching Kek's warriors. The tension of the moment coiled tightly within Carina as she focused her mind, powers merging within her, the weight of existence resting on this one decisive act. Come on," she muttered, the tidal wave of anxiety threatening to drown her. As the system reluctantly complied, a sudden sense of clarity struck her. This was not just a fight for survival, it was a fight to seize her future. The metallic corridors of the Starship Vigilant hummed with a peculiar silence, broken only by the distant whir of machinery and the soft glow of console lights. Carina leaned against the cold steel wall, her heart still racing from the tumultuous encounter with the Keks. Each pulse was a reminder that they had emerged victorious against overwhelming odds. But triumph was bittersweet. Now, she faced another battle entirely. As she gathered her thoughts, a surge of excitement fluttered in her stomach, mingling with uncertainty. She was pregnant, The weight of that reality pressed down on her, heavy yet exhilarating. How far had she come from her initial desperation? "I can't believe we did it," she muttered to herself, summoning a smile that felt foreign yet welcome. In the room next door, she could hear Reich's laughter echoing, light-hearted yet deep. It resonated through the walls, a reminder that amidst chaos, a bond had formed, one that was both startling and beautiful. With a deep breath, she pushed herself off the wall and made her way toward him, her mind racing with the weight of her revelation. Reich was sprawled on the couch, fiddling with a holographic projector, seemingly immersed in the chaotic visuals of their last battle replayed in exaggerated proportions. He looked up, curiosity sparking in his eyes. "Hey, officer, care to join me for a thrilling duel against our past selves?" Save it for the training simulation, mercenary, Carina interjected, her tone playful yet tense. I need to talk to you. He swung his legs off the couch, his attention shifting entirely to her. Sounds serious. What's on your mind? Taking a seat across from him, she searched for the right words. The image of the Kex warlord loomed in her mind, but she brushed it aside, focusing on the warmth she felt in her belly. I have something important to tell you, she stammered, the words catching in her throat like a splinter. What is it? His face was open and earnest, a calming presence against the tempest swirling within her. I'm pregnant, she finally blurted out, her voice trembling slightly. The air between them stilled, each second stretching into eternity as she watched emotions flicker across his face. Reich's initial surprise melted away, replaced by a soft expression of awe. Wow! That's incredible, Carina, he breathed, his words settling like warmth in her heart. Are you okay? More than okay, she whispered, but also terrified. This changes everything for me, for us. He leaned in closer, his expression earnest. I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together. Whatever it takes. There was an unwavering resolve in his voice that sent a rush of warmth through her. Carina nodded, feeling a mixture of gratitude and a renewed sense of purpose. I can't help but worry about the Kex. They won't just let us go. The ghosts of their past encounter loomed large in her mind, bright red flashes of danger laced with adrenaline. Reich frowned, the mask of levity slipping momentarily. Yeah, but we've shown we can adapt. The stronghold was just the beginning. Together, we're a force to be reckoned with. Carina smiled at his confidence, though doubt still lingered like a distant storm cloud. But I can't fight forever, especially not with a child on the way. I need to prepare, to protect, not just for myself, but for them. Reich regarded her with a seriousness that struck a chord within her. Then let's prepare, not just for a battle but for a future. The conviction in his voice kindled something within her. She realized that the journey ahead was not solely about survival. It was about building a life, one that transcended the immediate shadows that threatened to engulf them. In the following weeks, the vigilant felt different. Walls that once echoed only silence or the hurried footsteps of crew members now hummed with life. Carina found herself absorbing the small changes, the faint chirps of communication devices, the vibrant conversations among crew members, and the promising glimmers of laughter that echoed through the vessel's halls. Each sound became a portent of the new beginning she was nurturing. Reich stayed by her side, occasionally joining her in training sessions or engaging in heated discussions about their next steps. His humor interlaced their conversations, alleviating her fears while introducing a light-heartedness she hadn't expected. So, he would say, arms crossed and a glint in his eye, do we think the little one is going to have your determination or my charm? Definitely mine, she'd reply, a smirk tugging at her lips. Someone's got to keep you in line. It was in those moments, when laughter bounced off the metallic surfaces and filled the space around them, that Carina felt the unsettling fears begin to thaw, replaced by the undeniable joy of possibility. Yet, in the corners of her happiness lurked shadows of worry, reminding her that the Kex were still out there. One evening, as they debriefed on their progress, a holographic map of the galaxy materialized between them, lines pulsing with energy and potential. Carina pointed towards a red region dotted with enemy fortifications. We need to gather allies. If we could get reinforcement from the Althari tribes, they have insights on Kex movements. Good idea, Reich agreed, his fingers tapping the projection thoughtfully. But the Althari won't simply jump into a skirmish. They'll need a reason, a true alliance. And what about the Barracks Coalition? They owe us a favor from our last mission. We could present this pregnancy as a sign of goodwill. A shared future, Carina strategized, her instincts sharpening as she ramped up her resolve. An alliance born in trials, Reich mused. I like the sound of that. We'll bring everyone together under one goal, defending what we cherish most. Their plans took shape, evolving from ideas into strategies. Each day brought them closer to grounding their ambitions while navigating the ebb and flow of hope and fear. The once abstract concept of family became tangible. Already, Carina could feel the fledgling life within her, a constant reminder that her son or daughter would inherit an expansive universe. The good, the bad, all of it. As weeks slipped away, the time drew near for their first diplomatic mission to the Althari territories. The vigilant buzzed with heightened energy as the crew prepared for the impending negotiations. Reich stood with her on the ship's bridge, a storm of enthusiasm framed by the vastness of space. Ready to take on the universe? He asked, an infectious grin spreading across his features. Ready as I'll ever be, she replied, a sense of calm spreading through her, bolstered by his confidence. Reich's hand found hers, palm to palm, a sacred tether amidst the uncertainty. No matter what happens, we'll stick together. And if you need to sit down, I'll let you take over the negotiations while I sweet-talk them, he teased. Very funny. Just remember, I've spent years training for this. The Althari will respond to strength and character. And charm, he interjected, winking mischievously. Carina chuckled despite herself, comforted by the ease he injected into their otherwise high-stakes situation. Character and charm, then. It's a two-pronged approach, she decided. As they shot through the navigating corridors of the ship towards their meeting place, Carina felt an inexplicable sense of calm wash over her. The countless hours they had spent strategizing had cemented their partnership, allowing her to embrace the hope that a shared future could flourish even in the shadows. With each star they passed, she could almost visualize what lay ahead. Alliances forged in the fires of adversity, the laughter of children echoing through their shared home, and perhaps, a legacy brought about from courage, dreams, and love. But just as she began to picture a life woven with bright threads of hope, a distant sensation prickled at her senses. An unsettling awareness buzzed just underneath her skin. The Kex, a formidable presence looming like an unwelcomed storm, as she steeled herself for the journey ahead. Carina? Reich's voice shifted the ambiance, pulling at her attention. Whatever happens, remember we're stronger together. Together, she echoed softly, grasping his hand. No matter what comes our way. A vibration rocked the ship, and alarms rang through the air. The Kex warlord had found them, his shadow still lurking, a reminder of the impending chaos that never truly dissipated. As the ship began to shake, Carina stood tall next to Reich, steeling for the fight ahead, became more than mere survival. They were battling for the future. And as chaos erupted around them, they were reminded that even in the darkest moments, the flicker of hope persisted, illuminating the vast battlefield of the galaxy where love, courage, and connection would indeed flourish. In the confrontation that awaited them, Carina understood the essence of resilience, the unyielding strength that ignites when bonds curtail fear. It was not merely the desire to survive. It was the profound wish to thrive, to cultivate a future brimming with the light of countless stars. Together, they would face whatever came their way, embodying the belief that the most beautiful beginnings often rise from tumult, a testament to life's inexplicable wonders. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.